understanding that I feel that I want to push myself as far as I can. And as I push myself as a student, if I'm continuing to learn and I open up my mind, see, this to me is a very important part to start with, having an open mind. An open mind is like, listen, it's like a parachute. The mind only works best when it's open. So I start there by saying an open mind means I'm taking in new ideas. I always try and strive for excellence, but everyone's degree of excellence is going to be different because of the person that you are. So to me, my excellence is trying to be the best Dom Famularo I can be. For the same reason, I want Ruben to be the best Ruben hope he can be. I want Jess to be the best Jess you can be. That's where excellence is. It's not comparing it to anybody else. I will never play as great as Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd is the best Steve Gadd out there. But I must tell you, I am striving to become the best Dom Famularo, and that to me is where excellence is. Push yourself, raise your skills, but mostly have fun and really enjoy the journey.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. May I ask a question regarding something from It's Your Move?
Please.
Can you explain and demonstrate the free stroke, please?
Oh, this is a fantastic question, and this is really, really good. I wrote a book several years ago called It's Your Move. And I wrote this book because I wanted to showcase two different techniques in here that were taught to me. The first technique was a technique called the free stroke, which was taught to me by Joe Morello. And if you get a chance to write down the name Joe Morello, and after this session, go do a little homework and pull up some YouTube videos of Joe Morello. Joe was a phenomenal drummer, and Joe's teacher that he learned from was George Lawrence Stone. Now, George Lawrence Stone happened to be the writer of this book, Stick Control. This is one of the #1 technique books around the world. So what happened was George Lawrence Stone came up with this concept of this free stroke, this rebound stroke. He taught that to Joe Morello, and then Joe Morello taught it to me and many other drummers at the time when I was studying with Joe. My first lessons with Joe were in 1971. I was 18 years old. Let me tell you something. That's 50 years ago, a half a century. It feels like it was yesterday. But here's what the free stroke was and is. If I take this stroke and I hold it in my hand, this stick like this here, and I pick up the stick and do this, what I'm doing right now is I'm dribbling this drumstick like I would a basketball. And by dribbling this stick, the concept of this stick is only pushing the stick down. I push the stick down, and then what does it do? It bounces back up. So as I'm dribbling this stick, and you can even try this now if you've got a pad there. As I'm dribbling the stick, I'm allowing that stick to rebound, and the rebound is letting that stick bounce. So my concept is I'm only pushing down. Down, 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 down. It's only down. So George Lawrence Stone understood this, and he understood this back in the early 1900s. So he analyzed that many drummers were holding a stick very tight. They would throw the stick down, and then they would pull it up. And he felt they were working too hard to move the stick. He said there should be more freedom in the stroke. So he began to take the stroke, throw the stroke down, and the stick bounced back into my hand. Watch this again. I'm going to throw it down. Woo-hoo! The stick jumps back into my hand. This is like magic. Now, this took me many, many months with Joe Morello to understand. But I start in what's called a full stroke position, and I only think and throw down. It's only down. And if I relax in my starting position, this stick will come back. So this concept of the free stroke is I throw down and the stick flies back into my hand. So George Lawrence Stone realized that if you only throw down and use the physics of the rebound to assist you, that means we're actually using Isaac Newton's third law. Anybody here know who Isaac Newton was? Oh man, this guy was brilliant, a great physicist from the UK, and he was the inspiration to Albert Einstein. But Isaac Newton's third law was, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, which means if I throw the stick down with good energy, it's going to come back with good energy. So that's what George Lawrence Stone understood and put the concept into the movement of the stick. So when I'm playing this, for example, I am rebounding that stick, and I'm doing this with my hand just like I would be doing this if I was moving it here. So this rebound and this rebound is the same. This was groundbreaking for me. This was like, I said, oh my gosh. So when Joe Morello showed that free stroke, and we started here, threw it down and let it fly back. Again, with the other hand, I throw it down, I let it come back up. It's this. This became this relaxed stroke. I throw down, and it flies back into my hand. So again, the concept of the free stroke was just that. It was a free stroke in the concept of this free rebound that you were throwing the stroke down and the stick was working for you. And this became a very, very important stroke. So the book Stick Control, when I teach it, I take students through stick control, and I take them through every single note and every single page of that book, and every note is played as a free stroke. So for example, on page 5 in Stick Control, which is the first page of the book, number 1 is right, left, and continued. So the free stroke would be here. Right, left. That would be exercise number 1. And I would do that for 1 minute. And after 1 minute, where every stroke was a free stroke, I would then go to number 2, which was left, right. So as I'm going, right. Number 2, left. And I would stay on number 2 for 1 minute and go down the entire page, 1 minute each exercise, slow at a metronome marking at about 60. And each note was a click, slow and feel the rebound. And that's really what the free stroke was about. And by practicing that, that gave my hand so much freedom that it allowed me to have more freedom and more rebound. And that delivered me speed, power, control, and endurance. Great question.
Brilliant. Thank you very, very much. So there's some questions on the chat. If it's okay, I'll just read those out.
Yeah.
So there's a question from Noah Lawson at the top there. Noah asks, how do you go about composing/improvising a drum solo, either in real time or preparing a solo in advance?
What a great question. Well, first of all, by going through a book like Stick Control, there are many different patterns and rhythmic ideas in Stick Control. So as you go through each page, those patterns kind of get into your head. And the mixture of all these patterns all become a part of your vocabulary of movement. Now think about that, the vocabulary of movement. So when I have all of these ideas in my head by going through the book, I'm now putting all these rhythms into my mind and into my hands. Now, I also went through Stick Control with my feet. So by going through with my feet, that also put these same rhythms into my feet. And the soloing concept of playing, the next step was to listen to a wide variety of drummers, because that's where you're going to steal ideas from. And I use that word very carefully. We're going to steal ideas. So when you listen to a drummer like Buddy Rich, that's the name. If you're not familiar with him, write that name down. Buddy Rich. When you watch video footage of Buddy Rich on YouTube, I highly suggest that you have a seatbelt on your seat, because when you watch him, you might slide out of the seat and hurt yourself. He's going to take you on a roller coaster ride. Buddy Rich, I got a chance to meet in 1971 when I was 18. I knew him the last 16 years of his life, and this guy played incredible. The next part of it, by hearing someone like Buddy Rich, then I heard a drummer by the name of Max Roach. Max Roach, very interesting name. Now, what I'll suggest to you, and George, you can let them know that on my website, domfamularo.com, there is in the menu, there's a menu that says free downloads. Go to the free download page, and on there are several sheets and pages that you can download free. And on there is a list of drummers and all these different names: Max Roach, Elvin Jones, Chick Webb, Gene Krupa, Philly Joe Jones, Papa Joe Jones, Sonny Greer, Rufus Speedy Jones. Gosh, these guys were incredible. And you have the biggest advantage, George. They are all living in the world, as we live in today, with the greatest advantage. I mentioned a name like Papa Joe Jones. You go to your computer, you type in YouTube Papa Joe Jones, and 1,000 videos come out. 1,000 videos of Papa Joe Jones. You could be sitting there in your pajamas and watch Papa Joe Jones. Listen, when I was younger, I had to get dressed in adult clothes and drive to a club to go hear Papa Joe Jones. Now I listen to him in my pajamas, sitting up in bed. How incredible this is. So that incredible story of being able to take in this information of all these great players is incredible. So by hearing all these players and hearing them solo, ideas would happen where all of a sudden, now you have to trust your instinct. But what that means is you got to really just believe in yourself and try and go for it. For example, check this out. This camera that I have right now is camera 1. So I'm going to show you something. This is my drum set back here. And as we come back here, you can see my drum set here. Now check this out. Ta-da!
It's amazing.
This is my camera that's at the side of my drum set, so it allows you to see this side of the drum set. And what's amazing is I've got a wide variety of cymbals here. I've got all of my Sabian cymbals, for example, and I've got 2 ride cymbals. I've got a 20-inch ride cymbal to my right and a 20-inch ride cymbal to my left. Sometimes I play right-hand lead. Sometimes I play left-hand lead. I've also got 2 hi-hats. I've got a set of hi-hats here and a set of hi-hats here. Well, now that allows me to play 2 different sounding hi-hats. So in this setup, I kind of put different drums and cymbals in certain locations that makes me think differently. So for example, these are my feet here. Let's go to here. That's my foot cam. And here's my overhead. So let's try something. The question was about soloing. I have nothing on my mind. I don't know where to start, but I'm just going to start and play and see where this takes me. Are you with me?
Yeah, go for it.
Can you feel the love?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry, everyone's unmuted, so they'll be shouting right now. Everyone's muted, sorry, so they're just going to be going crazy at home, but it's just me, sorry.
Well, George, just so you know, my wife always says to me, she wished she had a mute button every time I open my mouth. I get it. Check this out.
Phenomenal. Thank you very, very much.
Could you hear it?
Yes. Yes, we could. Can I just ask a quick question there?
Sure.
So when you were talking about the free stroke, you were talking about stick heights coming from quite high. But when you were playing there, you were playing a full range of dynamics. Could you explain a little bit how you've managed to get all of those dynamics into your playing?
Excellent question. Let's go back to camera one. And this is the next step in understanding the free stroke. I started here, which is what we call a full stroke position. That's the rebound here. And Joe Morello started here because that's really where you're going to feel the most amount of rebound to start out with. And that's also the position that stretches and strengthens the muscles in the wrist. This movement. So that's a full stroke. This right here is a half stroke. Oh, now we start to get a little bit more clarity in our playing. The half stroke, again, is only down. Down, down, and I let it bounce back to the half stroke height. Now, what's amazing, if you notice, I'm not going any higher than this. So the half stroke is from here and down. It's not this. That's not a half stroke. I went up to go down. That's a full stroke. So the half stroke is only in this range, so that would be here. Third level is the low stroke down here. The low stroke is a much softer stroke. Much quieter and much softer. That's the whisper. That's the ghost note. That's where sensitivity is. Well, what happens when I mix these strokes? Here, half stroke and low stroke. Full stroke, low stroke. If I want my low stroke a little louder, full stroke and half stroke. So I'm mixing the different stroke heights the exact same way I'm speaking to you. Can you imagine if I spoke to you in a monotone? I once had a professor in university. He was an economics professor. And when it came out to the class of 300 students, he said this: "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Professor Johnson. I am very excited to be here. This is the most fun I've ever had in my life. Please open up your book. We're going to learn about the economics of Russia in the Bolshevik Revolution. Thank you very much." When he started speaking like that, the next thing I did was I fell asleep on my desk. He sounded like a robot. There was no emotion. He came in and he sounded like this the entire time. He spoke like this with no dynamics. When you remove dynamics, you sound like a machine. Well, we want the human element to be in our playing. So when I played for you, I played a mixture of all those different low strokes, half strokes, and full strokes to create the dynamics and the movement the same way I'm speaking to you right now. When I go back and I say, "Could you hear me? Could you feel the love?" That volume's up here. But if I want a student to understand the sensitivity of movement, I'll bring my voice down much lower. That you have control over. That is your expression. And that's what makes us unique as individuals. And that's what you want to bring to the drum set. Excellent question.
Thank you very much. All right, I have another question. This is from Thomas Carney. Hi, Dom. I recently have enjoyed watching your videos on Drumeo. I was wondering if you would be able to talk us through and potentially demonstrate your unique cymbal swiping technique.
Wow, very good question. You know, I came up with the cymbal swiping from having learned a technique from the great Jim Chapin. And the great Jim Chapin, who wrote this book, which everyone should have, Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. This is a jazz book. And even though this is a jazz book and you might not necessarily understand jazz, just so you know, this was one of John Bonham's favorite books. John Bonham with the band Led Zeppelin was a great jazz drummer, and he loved this book. So this book is about jazz independence, and Jim Chapin, who wrote this book, dedicated this book to the great Sanford Augustus Moeller. Now, Moeller was a gentleman that taught a technique that Jim Chapin learned that was a whipping technique. Now, notice, George Lawrence Stone, when we played the stroke, we played it from our wrist. Full stroke, half stroke, and low stroke. That's all from my wrist. Sanford Moeller, who was born in the 1880s and died in the 1960s, had a concept of being able to have more power, so he understood this whipping motion. And the whipping motion was here. Imagine an invisible string on my wrist. The tip of the stick is 1,000 pounds, and I do this. Check this out. Here's the string. Can you see the string? You can see it, right? There's no string, it's imaginary. That's all right, I forgive you. So understanding this motion here, this here is a loose whipping movement. So this motion is this. I'm whipping to get more power out of that stroke. Well, what I realized, let me go back to the drum set. What I realized that if I use this technique, on the drums, individually on a drum, this happens. That's how now I begin to apply that whipping motion. Then one day I went to hit the cymbal, and as I hit the cymbal, I kind of came up and hit it, and then came down to hit it. So it's the same whipping motion, but what I'm doing is I'm stealing a note going up and then playing it down. So I'm actually playing two notes with one movement. Here's the whip. That's the whip. And here's the swipe. There it is, I'm back here. So that's the swipe. Check it out again. I'll turn my mic off so you can hear it better. Now, if I add a bass drum on each note, it sounds like this. Hence the swipe. So it really is just a molar movement. So I think what's amazing is this guy, Sanford Moeller, was a marching drummer. He used his technique for the power he needed when he was marching with a band. Jim Chapin was his best student. And Jim Chapin took that motion and put it into jazz. By putting it into jazz, Jim was able to develop his jazz technique to have this molar movement inside his playing. When I learned from Jim, I took that molar movement and applied it to rock and contemporary playing. So when I wanted a double crash in my playing to get more power, when Jim Chapin saw this, he said, "Hey, that's molar." I said, "Yeah, don't tell him. Let's keep that a secret between you and I." So when I got to Drumeo, they asked me to show some of these techniques, and I put that on Drumeo, and the guys at Drumeo have just been so fantastic, everyone that works there, and we're able to share the swipe on there. So I would say understand the molar movement first, and as you develop that, then you can put that motion all around the drum set, whether you're playing on a snare drum or you're swiping the cymbal. Great question, George. That was fantastic. Thank you.
So obviously when you're playing, your drum kit you've spent a lot of time setting up the perfect position for everything. So when you're doing those, swipes, everything's exactly where you expect it to be. Jed's asked the question about, how to set up the drum kit with regards to the varying heights. And he's curious to know if you have a preference for playing low or high, with the positioning, and what's best for stick control. Essentially, how do you get your kit as ergonomic as possible?
Boy, great question, Jess. And this is something which is so important to understand, that you're setting your drum set up for you. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, but I've got a monitor in front of me here that I'm talking to, so I'm watching you guys here, even though my camera's over here, okay? In the process here, my two ride cymbals that are here, I sit down on my seat and I get a comfortable seat height. Now, what a comfortable seat height is I don't like it too high or too low. I find a seat height that is comfortable, that I feel balanced, and I feel very relaxed. So once I have my seat height, next, I think about where I want my snare drum. So my snare drum is kind of level with my waist. It's a little bit below my waist where my belt is. I'm about probably maybe 2 to 3 centimeters underneath my belt. So when my hands play, I'm right here, so I can have the ease of this. So the drum is just comfortable right in front of me, so it allows me to have different patterns that I can play. Completely relaxed. Relaxation is the most important focus. And I use a line that I use all the time, which I want you to remember. Tension is the enemy of movement. Tension is the enemy of movement. Well, if tension is the enemy of movement, relaxation is the ally of movement. All the great drummers that are playing out there, the common denominator that they all have, they might play differently, but I can guarantee they are all very relaxed. They might be playing with a lot of energy and a lot of intensity, but they are relaxed. So my snare drum is right in front of me. Then I set up my right ride cymbal here. So when I sit, I put my hand out and my ride cymbal is right there. I've got a left ride cymbal right here, basically the same position on the left side. I put my 2 crashes in front, so it's reaching. My hi-hat on my left side, I play open-handed. Although I am a naturally right-handed person, and many drummers play cross-handed this way, I develop my left side so I can play open-handed so I'm not crossing. So now I have my snare drum comfortable and my left hi-hat comfortable, and I have a right hi-hat here. So by having these positions, I can do this. So now both of my hi-hats are very comfortable. So how I set everything up, I set it up step by step. My snare drum first, I put my toms in a position where they're easy to reach, and my toms are comfortable. So it's not that I'm too high or too low. I kind of like that middle ground, where I'm right in the middle, where I'm comfortable, where I can reach everything. My hi-hats, my ride cymbals, my toms are right here, my Chinese cymbals right here, and my splash cymbals are right here. See, I've got these two splash cymbals. Check this out here. I've got a splash cymbal here. I've got my two crash cymbals here. So now the location of my drums, my hi-hats, my cymbals are all positioned step by step slowly. So when I add to it all, no matter where I go, I am totally comfortable. And comfort is the number one essence of what we want to have. So when you're behind the drum set, you set up the drum set for you. So you're not adjusting yourself for the drum set, you adjust the drum set for yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Great question.
Theo has a similar question to Noah, but for fills. So Noah asked about, improvising and coming up with solos. What kind of methods do you have for making fills?
Boy, what a great question this is. I'm going to go back to camera number 1 here. Check this out. Here's a great drum book that came out that I highly recommend. Filling in the Grooves. See, I am a book nut. I love books because inside books is knowledge. And as I said earlier on, if I have an open mind, I want books. I probably have well over 2,000 drum books. But every one of those drum books, there's knowledge. Now, this book was actually written by a student of mine, Filling in the Grooves. And he analyzed drum fills of the top drummers in the world, wrote out their fill, has video in here of him playing the fill, and has the albums that you can go and listen to how the fill sounds like for the artist playing it. So what better way? You can listen to the recording of the drummer playing the fill, then you can look in the book and have the understanding of how that fill was played. And it gives sometimes exercises to prepare yourself for the fill. So fill ideas, we have to analyze the different drummers that are out there. So listening to music and listening to all these drummers is how I get fill ideas. There's a drummer by the name of Jeff Porcaro. Jeff Porcaro was a great, great friend of mine. He died in 1992. But Jeff Porcaro is a drummer that I want you to go and research. He played on thousands of recordings, and every one of his drum fills is exciting. So that's kind of how we learn. We learn from each other. I'd hear a drum fill that Jeff would play. I would take maybe a pattern of an idea out of stick control and adapt it around the drum set. And then when I get to my drum set, I've got my tom-toms located in different positions than most drummers do. Let's go back to the other set over here. If you look at this here, I've got my drum set. My snare drum is right in front of me. This first tom-tom is a 12-inch tom. Let me see if I can pull back a little further. Let's go back to here. Check this out. How's that? Woo! Don't you love technology?
It's an amazing setup you've got.
George, technology is amazing, and I teach students all around the world, so I've got this set up here, so it's so much fun. All my drums are mic'd up, but the key thing about technology is when it works, it totally amazes me. It's like a miracle. It's unbelievable. When my computer and all this stuff doesn't work, I want to kick it off the roof of my house into the river. George, there's no in between. Either it's great or it stinks. That's how it is in the process.
I have a setup that works, and that's basically I just run with my laptop into the room where my drum is, and then just put it next to the drum kit. That seems to do okay for now.
Oh, that's I did that for many, many years, and that worked out absolutely fantastic for sure. So I've got a 14-inch snare drum. These are all Mapex drums, and this is a Mapex Saturn V drum set, so it's a beautiful sounding drum set. And these are all Remo drum heads. I've been with Remo for many, many years, and they're just a great, great drum head. These are all ambassador-coated drum heads. So my first drum is a 12-inch tom. My second tom here is a 10-inch tom. My next tom is a 16-inch tom. And my furthest tom here is a 14-inch tom. So my drums are 12, 10, 16, 14. Now you ask why? And I ask, why not? George, there's no tom police going to come by and arrest you. You can do whatever you want to do. So to me, I turn the toms around because it makes me think differently. And by making me think differently, this opened up a whole nother idea of how I can, look at the drum set and hear different patterns. Now, most drummers would set it up 10, 12, 14, 16. And in the early days, that's how I did it. But for me, it was like everyone set it up that way, and I started sounding like everybody else. Remember, a part of my excellence is I want to find out the best Dom Famularo. So I decided to make some changes. And that's when I made changes with my tom-toms. So I went 12, 10, 16, 14. So it sounds like this. That alone started to make me think differently. By thinking differently, it opened up a whole nother world of rhythms and sounds that was exciting to me. So again, adjusting the drums to how you want to have it is an extremely important part of it too, and how I have my tom set up. This is the magic of finding your own personality on the drums.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Dom. I'm definitely going to have a go moving toms around and seeing what it does. I've got another question. This is from Daniel Ward. One of the things I enjoy about watching you play, Dom, is that you can see that you're clearly having such a good time. Every time I see myself play, I look so stern, even though I'm having fun. What is your secret?
When I was a young child, I came from a family that really didn't have much money. And when you don't have much money in your family, you kind of like just realize that you have to make your own enjoyment. You have to make your own fun. And we struggled as a young family, and my parents were just wonderful people that gave us the best life that they could give us. And music came into our life, and with music came joy. We'd play music, and all of our family and our relatives and our friends would come by, and they'd be happy. They'd hear us playing music, and they would smile, they would dance. So when I realized I was able to play my instrument and bring joy to other people, I said, this is pretty special. I think this is how I want to live the rest of my life. So the joy that I brought these people, I begin to realize that if I show them the joy and they see it in my face, they're going to feel the joy. If I look serious or I look tense, that's what they're going to feel. So you have to decide, what message are you trying to send? I also am very blessed every single day of my life. I wrote a book many years ago called The Cycle of Self-Empowerment. And it's a book about understanding empowerment and how to empower yourself. Empowerment means to give power, and I believe we should understand how to give power to ourselves. The next book I'm working on is a book called Owning Now, to own the moment. And I believe that every moment of my life is a gift. Having you here now, that you can hear my voice and see my presence through technology, it's an absolute gift. If I can bring you a message of happiness and joy, and when we finish this class, you close this down and you go back and check the internet and the YouTube channel on some of the names I had mentioned to you, and you can go watch Buddy Rich play and watch Joe Morello and Max Roach and Elvin Jones and Tony Williams. And the names that you're going to see on that list on my free download page that I told you on my website, when you start searching their names, you're going to notice that all of them played and they all smiled. They had joy when they played because they were sharing their gift of music. Each of you has this gift. By practicing and learning this instrument, we're just fine-tuning and developing the gift to make the gift better. But the gift has to be shared. When you share that gift and you see someone else smiling because of your love for what you're doing, this is huge. After our session, I want you to go to the drums and bring your parents or your brother and sister, sit them next to the drum set and just play. Play whatever you feel like and just play. And I want you to do it with a smile on your face. Play a short groove, a short little solo, and then turn and smile and say nothing and look at their faces. I guarantee you will have brought joy to them. This is the power of music. And this is what I do every day when I play and when I perform. When I wake up in the morning, every single morning, the first thing I ask myself is, what do I choose today? Do I choose today to be a happy, positive day? Or do I choose to pass on negative vibes? Every day, I choose to be positive, and every single day, it works incredibly well. I ask you to make the same choice. And with that smile and with your love for playing an instrument, you watch how many people you begin to lift up. This, again, is the power of music.
A beautiful answer. Thank you very much, Dom. Thank you. This is a really good question from Flora. What is your favorite piece of music you have played along with and why?
Wow, great question. What is my favorite piece of music? You know, I have many great songs that I listen to when I want to just, feel good. One of the bands, for example, is a band called Earth, Wind and Fire. Earth, Wind and Fire is a kind of a funk pop band, and every song they play, I just want to get up and dance. Every song that they play is just a positive, lifting song, and it's just such a great feeling. So when I hear a band like Earth, Wind and Fire, it blows me away. It lifts me up and makes me feel good. There's also a great band called Tower of Power. Oh man, this band. When this band is playing, if you're not tapping your foot, tapping your hand, or wiggling some part of your body when the music is happening, you're dead. You're dead. If the band's playing and you're sitting there still, like my economics teacher, you're dead. At that point, lay down, dig the hole, get the flowers, nice talking to you, it's over. Tower of Power. Go there and check out a song that they have called What is Hip? What is hip? You're going to hear it too. It's just, the words are great too. What is hip today will soon become passé. It talks about living in the now and living in the moment. Great music. So I've got many different bands that I listen to. I love the Beatles. Oh my gosh. The Beatles, the song Come Together. Just hearing Ringo play all these tunes, when I hear that, I love the Beatles song Penny Lane. Almost sounds like a big band song. I hear the song the way the Beatles had it, and I start hearing it differently in my head, and I just go for it. Put on some music, put some headphones on, grab a couple tunes from the Beatles, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind & Fire, Tower of Power, get behind the drums, turn the world off, and step into your own universe. I guarantee you're going to have fun. Great question. Thank you.
I've never thought of Penny Lane like that before.
I want to have the song Penny Lane arranged big band style. And swing it. Oh, that would sound fantastic.
It would. Okay, here's a message from Stu. He says, "Hi, Dom. Thanks for being with us. I'm 52 and a late start at the drums, but love it. Do you have any unique advice for us oldies?"
Stu, I love it. I've got many students that come to me later on in life, and you are 52 years young. Now, if you're 52, I'm 67. I think I probably have underwear older than you. I know how sad that might sound, but thank you very much. So bring it on. 52 is still young. To me, step into the world of learning this incredible craft. What I love about it first is the physical side. Playing drums has kept me in good physical condition. I'm in good shape because I'm playing, I'm exerting myself, I'm moving around. This is fantastic. I would rather be doing this than being in some gym on a treadmill. So the first thing is enjoy the physical development you're going to get out of playing drums. Go back and check out some music that you love playing along to and find music of your era. 52, maybe you might like some of the bands in the 1980s. If there are some favorite bands you had, let's say even Zeppelin. If you like Zeppelin, put on some Zeppelin music and play along to it. It doesn't matter whether you're playing exactly what's right. As long as you're having fun with it, you're stepping into the world of playing music. We are never too old to learn. I say that again. You're never too old to learn. I had to learn all this technology in my life to figure all this stuff out. Well, I could have easily said, no, I don't want to learn it. I'm going to teach one way. But I said, boy, the joy of learning is in the process. So there's a process happening of learning that when you take on a drum teacher and you start working on certain drum books and you listen to certain music, oh my gosh, you're going to have the best time of your life. And this age of your life is now a new beginning. Enjoy this new beginning.
Thank you very much. Dom Neeson would like to ask a question. So I'm just going to try and ask to unmute. So we should hear Dom soon.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can, yes.
Dom, take it away.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask Dom, you seemed like a master of technique because you've learned from all the guys who really the pioneers or whatever. I was going to say, because I've been studying the motor technique and the push-pull technique. I was going to go on to looking at Tony Williams's technique about the back of the hand. And so I was wondering what you know about Tony Williams' technique that he developed later on.
Boy, great question. What is your first name?
Dom.
Dom like in Dominic?
Exactly, yeah.
Fantastic, Dom. Well, first of all, just so you know, the name Dominic means leader of gods. So it's not an easy name to have. Thank you very much. These techniques are great. There were 3 great teachers that taught all these great players years ago. And when you go to my website, domfamularo.com, and go to the free download page, you're going to download a document that looks like this. This is called the Drum Teacher Lineage. And these 3 names in the top are the 3 teachers that taught the techniques that Tony and Elvin and all these teachers taught. Billy Gladstone taught the technique of finger movement. It's all in the fingers here. And in that finger movement that Gladstone taught was movement of the fingers and also the push-pull. So learning the Billy Gladstone technique, you're going to learn those techniques. George Lawrence Stone taught the technique of the free stroke, and that was from the wrist. So learning the free stroke is very important because Tony Williams used the free stroke. Tony Williams also used the Gladstone movement with his fingers. And the other technique, the Sanford Moeller technique, is in this whip. Well, I never met Sanford Moeller. He died before I was, in 1971, I was 18 years old. He died in the early 60s. So I learned from Sanford Moeller's best student, Jim Chapin. And Chapin was the one that showed this whipping technique, this Moeller technique. A very important technique. So these three techniques are all the techniques that everyone plays. Steve Gadd, Buddy Rich, Tony Williams. What you're talking about, Tony Williams' grip, Tony Williams began to hold the stick back here. What's called the backhand fulcrum. And he played back here. That's an important fulcrum to understand. You don't use that all the time. You just use it when you want more power, when Tony wanted more power. There were times that Tony was playing a 24-inch ride cymbal. A 24-inch ride cymbal is like a Captain America shield. It's huge. And playing that thing, he needed power. Tony used a pretty big stick. He used the Gretsch 1S. That was a pretty big stick. So when he held that stick in his hand, he hit that 24-inch ride cymbal. It was like a 747 taken off. Powerful stroke. So with that stroke, that backhand was good. But the front hand position also, the fulcrums in the front hand are also very important fulcrum positions to learn. So there are 4 different fulcrum positions. There's 3 different types of movements, fingers, wrist, and whip. And there's 3 different hand positions. There's Germanic position, there's American position, and there's French position. So now you want to learn all 3 different match grip positions with all 3 different movements, fingers, wrist, and whip, with all the different fulcrum positions. And that's really the understanding of technique. Now, this is a step-by-step process. When I teach, I take people on a very specific journey so we can learn all of them. And as you learn all of them, it gives you the freedom that wherever you go on the drum set, for whatever you need, you have the technique and the movement to deliver that idea. Dom, great question.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Dom. There's about a minute left. So what I would like to do, if it's okay, is as you were talking about how important it is that everyone has their own voice, I'm going to allow everyone to unmute themselves so that they can all say thank you. That isn't going to just blast through your headphones, is it, Dom?
Don't worry about it. Go for it.
So if you would like to unmute just to say thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much, Dom.
Thanks, Dom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Dom.
so
That was
much.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dom.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, Dom.
Cheers.
Thank you. That was excellent stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Dom.
Boy, this is so wonderful to have this time with you all. You know, I cherish these moments because you are the next generation. And whether you're 12 years old or 52, the age doesn't matter. What matters is in your heart, if you have the desire to understand music and share this and lift other people up because of your gift and your talent, this is what we're here on this earth for, to lift other people up. And if you can do this by using music, music is the most powerful language in the world. Forget politics, forget barriers of countries, forget all of that craziness. What unites us together is when we all sit and hear music and we all relate to the great message that music sends. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. If you can open up your heart and take in that music and lift other people because of the power of music, this is purpose. And if there's purpose to everything that we do, you will now make a difference in this world. And I believe in you all to go make that difference. I believe you all can do that. And all I ask is one thing from you. Prove me right. Prove me right that you are that generation that can go out there and lift people and make a difference with the power of music. This is to live.
Thank you very, very much, Dom. I'm going to do some announcements for the drum festival that we're running, but please feel free, if you would like to say goodbye and log out of the chat, that's totally fine, because you might have some pressing engagements. But it was just, there's some upcoming things in the drum festival. So tomorrow, there's Jack Heron.
I'll see you all. I'm gonna bug out. I've got my next student.
No, you must go. You must go.
Keep in so much, and thank you so much. Thank you, George. Thank you, Amanda.
Welcome. Thank you. See you later. Goodbye.
Yes.
Hello. So can everyone still hear me? Apologies.
Yep.
We didn't have time to ask you a question. There were some brilliant questions, and Dom was able to give some amazing answers. But because he's so good at explaining stuff, we just didn't have enough time to go through everything. If there's anything in there that you think you might like to ask either Jeff or myself tomorrow at our Q&A session, then just bring the questions then. But thanks very much for everyone coming. Yeah, there's some cool stuff coming up. So tomorrow at 11:30, Jack Heron is going to be covering a piece called Tendinitis, which is an absolutely astounding technical piece that covers, incredible double kick playing, as well as brilliant hand technique, which is a piece that you should check out beforehand on YouTube called Tendinitis, and it's by Luke Holland. So he's going to be playing it, and then I think he's going to be explaining it and breaking it down. Then at 3 p.m, so this is all tomorrow. Yeah, it is tomorrow. Michael Spearman is going to be doing his Zoom meeting, which he's the drummer in Everything. He's astounding as well. He's one of Jeff's students, okay? And Jeff is probably here in the chat as well. So it's really exciting to see what he's got to say about drumming and music in general. So that's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mine and Jeff's Q&A is at 1:30. As well as that, there's the beginner sessions and the intermediate sessions. They're still all on YouTube, and they'll be available all weekend, so you can keep watching those. And then on Saturday at 11:30, we're going to replay Andrew Lyle's workshop, his jazz improvisation workshop, which will be really, really cool to get to watch that again for those that missed it the first time. As well, 1:30. Sorry, I just got a message there that confused me. Yes. Oh no, sorry, that's at 1:30. Is that at 1:30, Amanda? Hang on. Tech. When it works, it's great. Amanda, I've just asked to unmute you. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, it's at 1:30.
All right, okay. Is that the Andrew Lyle workshop?
Yeah, it's been repeated at 1:30 on Saturday.
Excellent, brilliant. Thanks very much, Amanda. As well, there's a Just Giving page for the foundation. So if you've enjoyed yourself over the course of the festival, head on over and donate whatever you can, if you can. And there's a survey for the festival as well that it would be great if you could all complete. But I hope you all had a brilliant time, doing the Zoom meeting with Dom. I loved it, and I want to go play now, but I don't think my neighbors will like it. But I'm so tempted. If you can play, go get your drum kit and have fun and play. But till the next meeting, I'll see you all soon. I'm gonna hit end, so I'll say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, George.
George.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.